All right, I'm just going to ask flat out, what are we supposed to believe? Is influencer marketing the best strategy for marketers in 2019, like these articles are referencing, or like the Los Angeles Times, the worst thing to happen to marketing like ever? Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Marketing on Tap. As always, I am Sam Fiorella. This is my mate, Danny Brown. Danny, today I want to circle back to influencer marketing.
Okay, just for a change?
Just for a change.
Yeah.
I want to circle back to influencer marketing because there's been a whole slew of articles written lately, I guess, post the Fyre Festival fiasco, and now even with the news of the celebrity kids who have been bribed basically into, getting college admissions because of, what they've been posting online and the fake pictures of them, as well as what they were doing in their application letters. So there's been this whole renewal of FTC requirements, which I think go back to 2017, that are requiring people to put disclaimers in their posts. And for most part, a lot of people are doing it, but they're using things like hashtag SP
or AD or whatever.
Yeah, for sponsored. Yeah. And nobody understands that. The average user doesn't understand that. So it's starting to, I guess, backfire on them. And, there was a recent article in the Los Angeles Times that talked about this is finally the end of influencer marketing. And then the very next day, I got another article over on Daily Hive that's, talks about why influencer marketing is one of the most important strategies for 2019. So, 7-8 years later, we're still talking about influencer marketing, and there's still no consensus. Is this the best thing in the world or the worst tactic ever? And it's dead. So I want to sort of circle back, see where we are today. What's the state of the industry, and what do the people out there listening want to know? Mm-hmm. So that's today's topic. But I'm excited to switch over to beer for a minute.
Yep. This week, it's our friends over at Great Lakes Brewery in Etobicoke, Ontario. It's about, 15 minutes away from us, I guess, in the car. Great Lakes is an awesome brewery. GreatLakesBeer.com. They make some great beers. We've been at the tap room a few times and really good, course in seasonals. Today's is the Harry Porter and the Cherry Hoarder. Now, Harry Porter is one of the Tank 10 series, so it's a special, brew that's mixed seasonally, and they experiment with different flavors. So this one's got cherries, delicious cherries, chocolate.
Not just cherries.
Not just cherries, not delicious cherries. There's also chocolate, coffee. Oh, did I mention there's cherries? So it should be pretty smooth, maybe with a little bit, acidity to it. It's a 6.5% ABV and a 33 IBU. So the IBU isn't too bad. It shouldn't be too bitter.
I already love the color of this.
You can smell the porter.
This is, I love Great Lakes, and this one here is, unlike a lot of the beers we've been trying up until now, you've always been introducing something new.
Yeah.
This one I actually really enjoy.
All
right, so everybody, cheers.
Cheers, Robert.
Robert, what do you think of this one?
Good.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah. Thumbs up, Great Lakes. Robert's not a fruity beer, but the cherries are really subtle in this, I think.
No, but, I think, again, Robert likes the thicker, creamier, like a Guinness like I do. And this one here, just with a little bit different flavor.
Yeah.
It's kind of got that texture.
So, yeah, check it out, GreatLakesBeer.com. Great job.
Harry Porter. Nice play on words there. So getting back to influence marketing. So, all right, I'm just going to ask flat out, what are we supposed to believe? Is influencer marketing the best strategy for marketers in 2019, like these articles are referencing, or like the Los Angeles Times, the worst thing to happen to marketing like ever?
Yeah, I think they're both correct in a way. Influence marketing.
Way to take a position there, Dan.
Yeah, I know. I'm Scottish. I don't have opinions like I don't. No, I mean, we spoke about this in the book.
Don't let me pull up the story of the Jacobites. No, I'm sure you'll have an opinion.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, we spoke about this when we wrote the book years ago. Influence marketing done right works, but it's not the only strategy. And I think some of these reports are talking, when they say it's the best strategy for digital marketers in 2019, that's kind of hyperbole or Hyperbole. See, can't even pronounce the word properly. So no, if done properly, we know it works. We work with clients and we do influencer campaigns. We also see some people in that industry and how they, maneuver numbers, metrics, etc., which sort of talks back to it is the worst thing when you start getting, half lies like that to boost your opportunity to work with brands. So I think they both do have some semblance of truth to them.
Yeah, and I think that as a media, our industry media in particular is doing a really shit job of promoting or educating the audience, because they're looking for those headlines. Like the one of the articles that I have up on my screen right now, why influencer marketing is one of the most important strategies for 2019. And when you read the article, what the article is really doing, it's an advertisement for an agency. And it's not a native ad. I mean, this is not a paid advertisement. But they just needed something clickbait, like why, influencer marketing is one of the most important strategies. And you read the article and it talks about an agency that hired an influencer to head up their influencer marketing strategies.
Right. Wasn't it really business director of social media or influencer?
I think that was her title, that she was being brought on, but she was an influencer, meaning that she had built up a large Instagram following and was being paid to post pictures of her either holding or using the product or whatever. And because of the, I guess, notoriety that she built up around her Instagram channel, a marketing agency actually hired her to run their influencer marketing strategy. So my first thought on this was, that's bullshit. I mean, what kind of an idiot agency would do something like this, not hire somebody with tried and true marketing tactics and strategies? But then I thought, okay, hold on. That was my knee-jerk reaction. So I want to talk to you about this a little bit and get your thoughts. Their philosophy was that an influencer who's already built a strategy and executed a strategy successfully for how to engage brands on social media, they've got direct insight into those brands and what are brands looking for.
Yeah.
So why not bring them in-house and leverage that experience to building a whole department around that? Because she has this direct insight as what brands are looking for.
Yep.
Is that something that most marketers should be doing instead of hiring a seasoned marketer like you and me with some gray hair or no hair, as the case may be? Should they be looking for these 20-somethings that are flogging, shoes on Instagram?
Well, in fairness to this particular influencer, I checked, I looked at her LinkedIn, and it seems she does have some business background there, business like strategy background. There's no descriptions to the title she had, so it's just by titles. But to your point, I mean, it makes sense from if you want to get into the insights of what works when it comes to connecting brands to the consumers they want to go for based on the influencer, the consumers are following. It kind of makes sense to either work with them or, consult with them or whatever. I'm not sure based on the business. Like I said, I know her business background. I'm not sure based on the business background if it makes sense. What's interesting about this particular one, though, and that piece I read, you sent it to me, and it mentions that her blog was one of the most popular in Canada by The Hive, which is this piece is on, and Elle magazine and what have you. At the bottom where she works, where she highlights who she shops at, that's links to her various sponsors. There's no disclaimer.
Yeah.
So this agency is bringing on an influencer who doesn't disclaim that she's paid. She does on Instagram, but not on her website, and that's key.
Yeah.
So is that the best person to bring on to advise you? Well, yeah, I can connect you with the influencers, but I'll not maybe mention that I'm actually getting paid as an influencer. So that kind of stuck out for me there, and that's a danger, I think.
That is a danger, and it raises 2 points in my mind. Number one, are marketers, marketing agencies, or anybody qualified and trained to hire people like this? Like, maybe just because, again, we're old and we've been doing this for so long, one of the first things we'd look at is their actual work. If I'm hiring this person because they've proven themselves as a social media influencer to drive awareness and brand engagement, are they following the letter of the law? Are they following best practices? Let me check that. Clearly they didn't, or maybe they did and they
don't care.
We haven't spoken to this agency, so I don't know. But, maybe they looked at it and didn't care, or figured maybe we'll train them right? So that again opens up a whole other issue for marketing agencies or directors of marketing, CMOs that are hiring these people. Get with it. Like, understand what is legal, understand what best practice is, understand to cut through the BS that this market is generally built on, right? So that you know how to hire somebody and bring them in house. I keep going back to Joel Ostrowski, the fat Jewish on
That's
Instagram,
a good example, though.
That I think, a guy who built up a massive audience with, some questionable content, but became famous, built up a huge audience, and then got paid not only for his promotion of products, but now companies were hiring him to actually come up with campaign ideas,
right? Because
he proved that he was so good at developing content that engages, content that drives brand activation. So, I mean, clearly there are some of these guys. I love the idea of when you find an influencer, instead of paying them for their audience to huck your product, which today is not as trustworthy as it's ever been, and the statistics bear that out. If they're good content producers and good campaign generators, hire them to develop your content. Hire them as content writers, which is, I think, what this agency was trying to do. So my initial reaction to that's BS. I'm actually rethinking my strategy on that, because if she is as good at developing that content, then why not?
Right.
But the second point that came to my mind that I want to just ask you about is, how can you actually trust? You said, well, there's not a lot of description around her job titles when you look her up on LinkedIn. She's not using the proper disclaimers that, the FTC, at least in the United States, requires. And I know here in Canada, it's the same thing. Australia, it's actually law.
Yep.
Here it's just a guideline.
Well.
In the UK and Australia, it's actually law. And apparently that's coming here now as well. So when you look at that, how much can you believe? When you take a look at the Fyre Festival, as an example.
The Fyre Festival?
Fyre Festival, not the Fyre Festival.
All these French fry influencers that McDonald's sent to this island.
Sounds like something Scottish people.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to create that.
I did just have lunch. Maybe we can create Fyre Festival.
Let's create Fyre Fest.
If we can merge it with one of the beer festivals we go to, I
think we might have
a beer and fries.
Like it.
I like that.
All right.
So anyway, with the Fyre Festival, that got so much negative publicity because it did everything wrong, right? That I don't want to rehash that campaign. I think everybody knows what it is and what went wrong with it. But that, I guess, right now is what's on everybody's mind. If you're a brand looking to hire an agency or influencers, or if you are a consumer looking at these campaigns and people like the Kardashians that are promoting product, there's just so much distrust in the marketplace right now that I don't know how any traditional influencer marketing campaign can be seen as effective, because there's just no trust there.
Yeah. I think the key word you mentioned is traditional influence marketing. Like, we always spoke about marketing, online marketing, but we always pull back to traditional marketing. Yeah. The guts and bolts, or whatever. Nuts and bolts even.
Nuts and bolts.
Nuts and bolts. We're all struggling today. Where basically it's just marketing, no? But traditional influence marketing, where you do it properly, you've got a strategy, you're using multi-channels, not just influencers online, etc. We know that works because it's done properly by the books, and it's clear that it's either an ad, an advertorial, or whatever. And especially with the FTC and the ad standards in Canada stepped in, was because you had influencers on social who were just, there was no distinction. It was an ad and it was paid for, versus just someone saying, "Oh, I love this top. I love, these pants," or whatever. The lack of trust is in marketing anyway. Consumers don't like marketers. So I think if you do something that's almost, invisible that it is a marketing campaign, then...
it's funny because this last 2 weeks, we've been getting a lot of leads coming in and, referrals. And most of them, I've not even bothered bidding on work for ourselves, because what they're asking for are the wrong metrics.
Right.
And when I speak to them, I say, well, this is really what you should be looking for. And if we're going to work with you, this is how we would do it. I can tell right away, because no, I want to do this. Yeah. I want to do what they think works. So the lack of understanding of metrics is big. One of the NeoReach did a study that there a lot of influencer marketing agencies are promoting. And that is that for every dollar invested in influencer marketing campaigns, brands received an average return of $5.20. Right. So for every dollar invested, they got $5.20 back.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, that's one hell of an ROI.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. But if you read the details of the campaign or of the research, it says they received $5.20 in earned media.
Right.
Not in sales, not in profit or leads, we don't know, but in earned media. So, okay, that's still, I guess, good. Right. From if you're going to invest in a PR campaign, what does a PR agency report back to you? If they're doing awareness campaigns, you're launching a new brand, or you're launching a new product.
AVs, right? So.
Right, exactly. So how many viewers are we getting? What's the earned media, the equivalent earned media? For those of you that don't know what earned media is, it's basically if I had to buy that ad in that newspaper or on that radio program or on that television program, what would that have cost me to advertise?
So here it would have been the $5.26.
Here would have been $5.26 to get the equivalent exposure that a particular influencer would drive for you through social media channels. But I know one of the challenges that a lot of marketers have when they hire, let's say, a marketing agency as opposed to hiring a PR agency to do the same work is that for us, they hold us accountable to sales.
Yeah.
Marketing qualified leads, convertible leads, and bottom line results. How much did you convert? Whereas a lot of times, one of the reasons they do hire us instead of a PR agency is because a PR agency is often held accountable to earned media, which is fine. That's what they're trying to do. That's their metric, and that's good. But I think, again, one of I want to warn everybody that is still looking to do this, and at least for those of you that are calling us, we don't play that game. I would love to be able to say, look at the earned media. And in a couple of case studies, we do report that. If you look at our website, we do report earned media because that's what the client wanted. That's what we did. But then that was one client, for example, we didn't keep long-term.
Right.
We did the campaign. They were happy with that. And they didn't hire us again to do the follow-up or do anything else because the CFO eventually stood up and said, okay, well, what does that mean? Great. I got this earned media.
Yeah.
But that earned media, how do I attribute that to my bottom line? How do I attribute that to my sales?
Yeah.
Right. And I think this is where talks about hiring traditional influencers or using that traditional channel of paying somebody with a large social media following to promote your product is going to come back to bite you in the ass long term.
Right.
So ask for the right metrics.
Yeah.
Right. How do we do it here? Let's what's the difference between what we do, for example, and what others do? Now, not that I'm trying to promote our company, but just we're confident in what we do. Mm-hmm. I know what I've been saying to people. What would you say to somebody that comes to you and says, well, why is that wrong? What would you do differently? What metric should you be asking for from a marketing agency or from a campaign?
Based on the campaign.
Obviously.
Obviously. No, based on the campaign, I was actually formulating a sentence. It wasn't a question. No, but based on the campaign, I know we're looking to, look for awareness. So an initial part, awareness. Okay, now we've got the awareness. What does that mean? How many visits are we driving to the website? How many, downloads are we driving of an ebook or a sign up? How many, demos are we getting from a tech company, etc. Once we've got that, how many leads have we actually, qualified? How many people are we getting to take, ongoing tests, etc.
But is that really fair? I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute. Is that really fair? Is it fair to ask a company, like as a marketer, our job, arguably, is brand awareness, right? Marketing is about
you can't make a sale without awareness.
Yeah, we're not the sales team. We're the marketing team. So if we can drive awareness, then that's and the earned media is 5 to 1 in terms of an ROI. Then why is that such a bad thing?
Right. Well, the awareness doesn't, as you say, it goes back to marketing qualified leads. We could drive 1 million visitors to a website. Great. But only 100 of them might be actually interested in that brand, the product, the service, and in the buying, ready to buy at that time in the customer life cycle or the purchase life cycle. So awareness is great. You need awareness, but you have to keep going beyond that. And then once you've got the lead, many of our clients, we work with them on a multi-year contracts because we're growing a program from start to finish and turning, awareness into sales, lead sales, advocacy, return.
So it comes into multi-phase. I know, for us, we say, sure, step one is to build the awareness. And then from that awareness, How do we leverage that awareness? How do we build in the various calls to action embedded into the messaging or the tactic that drives measurable or trackable leads back, right? So sometimes that's a multi-phase, multi-year approach. A lot of clients don't give us or other marketers the opportunity to do that because they're looking for results today. Yeah. They're looking for results tomorrow. This is where I butt heads with a lot of marketers out there, because we actually turn away clients that's all they want, right? Yeah. We'll say no, you know what I mean? Robert and I are talking about this all the time because he's even more brutal about not taking on a client than I am. And say, well, it's just not going to be a big enough a client because they're not long-term visioned enough. They don't see phase 2, phase 3. And you know what? And he's right, because a lot of times when we have taken on these one-term phase, only one phase projects where earned media or awareness or followers and, you know, that kind of clicks are the metric, we never get the rest of that campaign. Right. It always ends there because they always come back to us and say, well, how does that affect my bottom line? Even though we warned them at the beginning that this was the case. So, and I think a lot of marketers are just trying to take whatever business that they can get their hands on instead of saying to a client, look, if you're not going to do it right, don't bother doing it, right? Go spend the money somewhere else. Maybe focus it on a sales, do an event, go to a trade show, go more, back to that list. So we're getting the signal. We remembered our bell today. So that's our last call. So Danny, last call. I'm going to pass it on to you. What's the one takeaway from today's recap or check-in on influencer marketing that we want to leave everybody with?
I think for me, for these examples, due diligence. You know, people are crapping on influence marketing for bad results or stuff like Fyre Fest. But that's because there was no due diligence. You know, it seemed like a great idea and too good to be true. And if it seems too good to be true, trouble is. So check who you're working with, check what their numbers are, and make sure they can back that up.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm going to take the other side of that and add to it is that if you are a marketer running one of these campaigns, you know, or make sure that the influencers that you're using, whether you're hiring influencers or whether you're identifying advocates within your existing customer base and leveraging their social proof and their testimonials, make sure that you are using the recommended FTC disclaimers and not just using abbreviations like hashtag SP for sponsored post. Make sure that you're following the rules, because you don't want to be on the bad side of that. Not only the negative PR that could happen if somebody calls you out or something goes wrong, you know, or be on the wrong side of the FTC when they come and, you know, give you the warning letters or potentially fines for misleading the public. So that's becoming a key thing for the Federal Trade Commission right now. They're really clamping down on this kind of stuff. So anyway, hopefully you've taken some ideas, some insights, some lessons learned from that if you're a marketer, a brand, or an influencer yourself. Until next time, guys, thank you very much for following and for listening, as the case may be.
Yep. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the little bell that's up here for notifications of new posts, and subscribe down the bottom, wherever that button is going to appear. And obviously, if you're on podcast, we'd love a review. We got some nice reviews recently. So,
that's fantastic. You know, we appreciate that. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
And by the way, you know that this is what, our 31st episode? You know that the bell is always, or the follow thing is always in the same point, right?
Yeah, I know. But I just think one of these times it might appear somewhere else.